your personal power boost with Dr. Verna, a global force for transformation, unlocking human potential one leader at a time. Are you looking for a boost to help you reclaim your personal power? Then this is your weekly source, where we dive into conversations about navigating your professional and life journey. So, take a deep breath, open up your heart, and get ready to ignite your leadership and fuel your spirit. Let's go. Welcome back to Dr. Verna's Personal Power Boost, and I hope that you're getting a personal power boost every week and that you are using them to make your life better, okay? Because that's really what this is all about. My life's goal and mission and vision is to empower you to become your most excellent self, because I believe in my heart of hearts, that you were born for such a time as this, that you're supposed to be here, that you have something important to do in this earth, and that your life is important to my life, that we are interconnected, and that as you become excellent and do what you're supposed to do, then guess what? Our entire world becomes excellent. And for that, that's really exciting. I was just talking to my husband this morning, and we were just having this conversation about, these are some difficult and challenging times at this particular time. And to timestamp this, we would be talking about in 2025, the summer of 2025. These are some difficult days for all of us, and there's a lot going on. So how do you stay centered? How do you stay grounded? How do you stay knowing that you can continue on? And I really believe that how you do that, how I do that, is I stay focused on what I'm supposed to do. Not what you're supposed to do, but what I'm supposed to do. And what I'm supposed to do is to empower you to become your most excellent self, because I believe that you were born to be excellent. So summertime, I'm born in June. I'm a June baby. I like sun. I like warm. And I sit out on my deck in the summertime. And I do that because I live in a cold climate. And so I don't get a whole lot of sun. So when there is sun, I go and I sit on my deck and I drink my tea. For those of you who know me, I like tea. And so I drink my tea slow. And by slow, I mean, I just take time to think. And I sip my tea and I think, and I read my Bible and I read a book and I just think and I watch nature. My patio has, just a nice backyard, so I can kind of watch. We have bird houses, we have fountains, so we can just kind of watch and just take my time and just think things over. So I'm sitting there, and there's a particular birdhouse in our backyard that has multiple holes. And so different birds will go into different holes. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching the birds, and I'm noticing something. So I'm going to talk about what I noticed right after we're done with our affirmation, because I think it's going to be important to you and it's going to be helpful to you as well. It's going to give you something to think about. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and start with our affirmation. My power is my ability to think a new positive thought, see a new positive vision, speak new positive words, write new positive goals, and do something new and positive with my life by taking a new positive action step. So be sure you're taking action steps every week. And I hope you do, that you listen to this person, get your personal power boost, and take an action step. Everything I teach is really designed for you to put into your life right now and do it. And it's not about just listening. You have to listen first, but then you got to do it. You have to activate your life. And so I'm sitting there, I'm watching the birds, and these birds are like, they're coming a certain way, and then they're kind of flying around a certain way, and then they'll go to their house. And then they'll come out of their house, and they'll fly a certain way, and then move around a certain way. And I noticed that there was a particular path that every bird had their own flight path. And I thought, now, isn't that interesting? They knew like exactly, first of all, they knew where they're going to land. Like, I'm going to land here. This is my house, and this is where I'm coming to. And then they would take this path to their house. And it was always the same path. I'm telling you, I sat there and I watched this for minutes. I mean, I probably was watching for at least a good a half hour, just watching the birds go in and out of their house and thinking to myself, hmm, these are birds. They know their flight path. They know exactly where they want to go. They know exactly what they want to do. And then I thought about us, human beings, people, us. Do we know our flight path? Do you, for so many of us, so you want a promotion. You want a promotion? You say you want to go to this place. You say you want to get to this level. You say you want to do this particular thing. The question is, do you know the flight path to it? Do you know how to get there? And how would you know the flight path? That's the question. The question of how do I know the flight path? Here's the answer, is that you've got to explore it out. You've got to research it out. You've got to go to the place through people, through networks, through knowledge, and you have to study to where you want to go to. That's how you find your flight path. You got to study to where you want to go to. So if you say you want this particular level or this particular position, the question is, how much do you know about it? How much do you know about what it takes to get there? How much do you know about what it takes to stay there? Because it's not enough to get a promotion. It's not enough to become this and that in your workplace. The question is, how are you going to get there? What do you need to know to get there? That becomes your flight path. Who do you need to know to get there? That becomes your flight path. And then once you get there, what are you going to need to know to stay there and to compete there and to be successful there? Because often what happens is that we want something, but we're not willing to do the work it takes to study up to it, to actually what? Know enough about it to get there. I'll use myself as an example. So my very, very first talk, this is when I became a public speaker. I've always been a teacher, always been a teacher. I've been teaching since I was 12 years old. When I started teaching, I learned to read. So guess what? I learned to read early, really at 5 years old. I learned to read and early, and so I taught my little cousins how to read. At 12 years old, I was teaching my Sunday school kindergarten group at 12 years old. So I've been teaching all my life. But I remember being at a asking to give a talk at my local community center, and they said, "Well, we know you're a teacher. Can you just come and give a talk?" And I remember my talk was called "Too Legit to Quit." I remember that, "Too Legit to Quit," and it was at that time when that song "Too Legit to Quit." I don't even remember who it's by now, but "Too Legit to Quit" was a big song. Too legit to quit. So I've put together my talk. I've got, it's the day of, I'm going to go to that community center and I'm going to give a talk. And someone comes up to me and says, "Well, did they pay you for your talk?" And I was like, "Well, am I supposed to get paid to be a teacher? I mean, I love what I do, right? I thoroughly enjoy what I do. I didn't expect these people to give me anything. I was just helping. I was just serving my community." And sure enough, those people, the community center people, they gave me a check for $50. And I was like, wow, they just paid me to speak. Guess what? I knew nothing about the flight path of becoming a public speaker. Nothing. I didn't even know that, and this was years and years and years ago. I didn't even know that people got paid to speak. I didn't even know that, companies hired people like myself to come in and fly me in and come in and to motivate their entire teams of thousands of people. I didn't even know that was a reality. I had no idea that flight path existed. But once I learned about it, guess what I did? I started studying to get there. I started studying major speakers. I started researching who they were. I started taking a look at what were corporations, what were they challenged with? What did they need? I started to look at how my own work, my own experience could be helpful to other people, how I could help people to change their lives. I started like literally, and this was even before I wrote my first book. Literally, I just started studying and researching what does this thing look like called public speaking, because I didn't know that flight path. So for those of you who are you are looking for your next level and you are looking to get there quickly, I'm going to give you a few tips, okay? A few strategies. First thing, find someone who's at that level who is not at your business, who is not at your company. So if you want to become the CFO, Chief Financial Officer of your company, or if you want to become the COO, or if you simply want to become the next manager of a department, what I want you to do is to find someone, and you cannot, I mean, we have things called like LinkedIn and all these other social media platforms, or guess what? Even more simpler, talk to someone outside of your company. Talk to some of your friends who are working in other companies and say, hey, do you have someone in your business who does this? Something similar to what you want to be doing. And say, hey, can you possibly connect me with them? I want to learn more about what that type of job is like. So, first of all, find someone who is where you want to be. So for me, I had to find someone, and the person that I found was Zig Ziglar. Of course, Zig Ziglar was way, he was way at the top of the public speaking, entity. I mean, Zig Ziglar was the guy. But I started reading Zig Ziglar. I started listening to Zig Ziglar. I started wherever Zig Ziglar would show up, I tried to find him and go and sit and listen and learn and saw how he handled thousands of people, saw how he handled convention centers where he would be speaking in them. I had to go and find someone who was where I want to be. Flight path. That's the flight path. Secondly, I had to study out what kind of, what is this? What does it mean to be a public speaker? What does it mean? How does it work? How, what are all the things that go along with it for you? Whatever your promotion is, find out. In other words, get the knowledge. In my first book, The Power of People, and when we talk about adders, one of the things that adders have and will give you is the power of knowledge. They understand how important knowledge is. Here's why. Through knowledge, you become delivered. First of all, more knowledge is going to help you detach, and it's going to help you figure out a lot of things. Secondly, knowledge is what helps you grow. The more you know, the more you grow. If you don't know nothing, you're not going to grow nothing. So it's important that you have as much knowledge as possible about where you want to be. And the third thing I want you to do in mapping out your flight path. You're finding someone who's where you want to be. You are now researching what it means to be there and what you need to be there. What are your skill sets that you need? How do you operate at that level? You get to research that. And the third thing now, what I want you to do is I want you to write down the flight path. Write down what you want to do, how you want to do it, where you want to be, what level you want to be. This is called the power of writing, right? Writing it down, that third part. And then the fourth part, I want you to now be excellent in the flight path you are in right now. Can I depend on you? Are you reliable? Is your work good work? Are you an amazing adder to your team? These are all a part of your flight path. So you make sure the flight path that you're on right now is a strong one and it's a reliable one and you know it well. So be excellent wherever you are. And guess what? Here's what's going to happen. Someone is going to start noticing you. Someone is going to start, asking you about possibilities, maybe sitting on a new team or maybe being a part of a new project. And before you know it, that promotion that you were looking for will find you. You don't even have to find the promotion because you've already mapped out your flight path to it. Now it's going to find you. And when it does find you, you're going to be ready to fly. Simply ready to fly. Okay. I hope this is helpful. I hope you took notes as well. And for those of you who are my regulars, send me a note. Let me know how this is helping you. Send me an email. I'm looking for testimonials, of course. For those of you who are brand new, I hope this was very helpful. And please share it with all those around you and like the work as well. All right. So let's go ahead and finish up with our affirmation. My power is my ability to think a new positive thought, see a new positive vision, speak new positive words, write new positive goals, and do something new and positive with my life by taking what? A new positive action step. What's going to be your action step this week to get your flight path? Okay, go fly. Bye. If today's episode spoke to you and you know it's time for a shift in how you lead, how your team connects, or how your culture performs, I want to personally invite you to take the next step. Book a free consultation at drvernaprice.com/workwithme and explore your next keynote, your leadership workshop, or executive coaching. It's time to get your power back, and it is time to get to your next level.